Good morning, fam. I hope that you're doing well and that your day is off to an amazing start, right? And so today I just wanted to share a few tips about going ahead and getting started. Sometimes, we feel like we want to be all perfect and then we want to have everything in place before starting. But when we do this, it tends to delay our start, it tends to delay our progress, it tends to delay all the lessons that we could learn along the way, right? So I'll just share a few tips. I hope that they are helpful, and I hope that they push all of us to get started on what we truly want to do, right? At the end of the day, the more that we learn, I guess the more that we share with each other, the more that we are able to push each other towards our purpose, right? Push, of course, in quotes, right, towards our purpose. So let's dive into it. So the first thing is starting, right? Is that of course we need knowledge to succeed in our different endeavors, right? So let's say maybe you want to gather knowledge online, or you want to get it from a particular person, maybe you want to go and then be an apprenticeship at a particular place, you could find ways to start to gather that knowledge, right? So for instance, maybe you can't pay for a course yet, maybe like the course is like 1,000 cedis or 5,000 cedis or 10,000 cedis, right? Maybe you can't pay for these yet. What you can also do is go to YouTube. There's a Spotify app. You could learn a lot from there. Yesterday I was learning from this man called Gary B. He's really good when it comes to marketing. So in case you serve, and I think that at the end of the day, all of us market in one way or the other, right? So in case you serve customers in one way or the other, you could check him out. Check him out on Spotify. You can check Marketing for the Now. And he brings really, really top CEOs to come and then share knowledge. And it's real time. I think he does the sessions every month or something. And these are people who run with like the big companies in the United States. And I think across the world too. And then they really share a lot of information. So that's what I'm saying, that sometimes maybe we might not, these people, ordinarily, I'm sure that if you go to a conference of theirs, you're going to pay a lot of money, right? A lot of dollars. But then we can start with the free apps. So Spotify, I use Android. I'm sure it's also on iPhone, right? So we can learn from these or other podcasting apps. If you search Marketing for the Now, YouTube, there's so many, whichever industry, if it's makeup, if it's hair, there are so many people. I've been learning. Hi, good morning, that you're doing well. I'm just sharing a few steps about starting small. So if it's hair that we want to do, if it's makeup, if it's if we want to make shoes, if we want to make clothes, like this, there's so much information there on YouTube that we can learn from, right? So we don't need to say, oh, I need to gather the 10,000 cities, I need to gather the 5,000 cities to go and then start that course. We can start small where we are, start to gather the knowledge, start to practice where we are, and that will help us to eventually gather the knowledge we need to expand in that area, right? For example, let's say that you want to do live videos, or you want to start maybe like a talk show, you can start where you bring guests and come and share information. You can start in your own way. You can start with what works for you. So for instance, if it's live videos that you don't want to do yet, you could start with still videos, like I don't know if they're called still videos, but I basically mean that you record them, you pre-record them, right? So let's say that you pre-record a video for 1 minute and then you share. So maybe you're sharing some morning motivation, you're sharing anything that you want to share in your industry with us, right? And so the more that you do the still videos, when you do it, you can just post it on your social media platform. Good morning, I hope that you're doing well. Thanks so much for joining. So you can just share that video on your social media platform. And then eventually be like, oh, I've shared a couple of videos. Like, I'm okay. I can do the live videos now. And then you go ahead, But sometimes we'll sit back and say, oh, I can't do live. And so I'm not going to go out and share value with the world. But then the truth is that each and every one of us has experiences that somebody else needs to learn from, that somebody else needs to know. We are all experts in particular areas, right? So rather than waiting to be perfect to come on live video to share your skills with somebody, why don't you start with what you feel you're comfortable with? Then as time goes on, you can progress onto other stages, you can progress onto live hosting, you can progress onto other things, because you have, like, the more that you do, the more that you build your confidence, the more that you become comfortable with doing live video and all that, right? So for instance, maybe if it's a job you want to do with a particular set of people, you could start small. You could start to learn from them. You could start to learn tips about that job from YouTube. You could start to search out opportunities to connect with people in that industry, right? You can use LinkedIn for this. You can use, and of course, there's information about how to build your LinkedIn on YouTube, on normal Google search. You can use LinkedIn, you can use Instagram, you can use Twitter. Organizations are usually post on Twitter a lot, right? And then LinkedIn. You can always search them up and then find ways to connect to them. If it's like some volunteering you can do, you can volunteer with them. If you see that they're having like maybe webinars and things to educate people, you can join in. So by and by, you start to learn about that industry, right? And then you start to have contacts, and then you start to get noticed. Like, this person's always here, this person's always here, this person's always here. So it gets to a point when they need something, they reach out to you, or maybe like, oh, could you volunteer on this? Could you support us with this? Could you help us on this, right? And of course, I'm using the word volunteer because like we're starting small, right? And we are gradually breaking into that industry. At a point, yes, we get paid for our services, but then I guess like in beginning, like when we are learning everything, like we start from somewhere, right? That's why I'm using volunteer. For example, my career, I started volunteering actually while I was in university until I got my job at the organization which I was volunteering for and all that, right? So maybe that's why I'm using it as an example. So you can start to find different ways to connect to the organization. With time, they'll come to know you. With time, they'll come to see that you're a person of value, and then you get more opportunities to connect. And then eventually, who knows, you could get a job in that industry as a result of that. You could become a consultant in that industry as a result of that. And it all started because you're willing to start somewhere, to start from the beginning, to start small. Sometimes some young people reach out to me and they're like, oh, Irene, how do you think I could get a job here? How do you think I could get a job there? And I'm like, okay, so even if you're in school, you can start volunteering, or you can apply to do an internship on a vacation, or even if right now you're sitting at home and then like you don't have a job. I tell people that it would be better to go and then maybe find an organization in your space to intern with. Because when you go and intern, they will see your skills, you'll be able to learn. So when they are looking for somebody to fill that position, they'll think, oh, Irene has been here, Kwesi has been here, Kojo has been here, Joshua has been here already. Why don't I pick them? Because they already have the skills, and then I can help them to build the other skills that they need, you know? So it all starts from somewhere, right? Let's say that if it's a business you want to do, and then you want to go into a huge empire. You know, it doesn't start as a huge empire. We all start from somewhere. And personal example, I started my business, my network marketing business, with 2 boxes of storage GBT, right? And so we all start from somewhere, and then now I can stock more boxes. It all starts from somewhere. I was watching recently, there's this lady who sells kente on Instagram. It's her shop is called Go Back Kente, and I followed the CEO recently, and she was sharing a story about how she started selling kente in the boot of her car, right? So that's a way. And then let's say like if it's shoes you want to do, right? It's not now that you're waiting to go and get a whole shoe shop, right? That's perfect. That's all good, right? That's all good. If you have that capacity right now, that's all good. Let's say that you don't have the capacity to start right now. You can start with selling 2 or 3 pieces of those shoes on Instagram, on Facebook. Thankfully these days we have lots of people doing amazing things on social media that we can learn from. We have lots of people utilizing their social media positively, right? So for example, I interviewed on Twitter Spaces, I think when we first began, a lady who does salads. And she does these salads, and she said that one day she just started by doing an order for one person. And she said that what she called it holy anger. She said she started out of holy anger because she placed an order with the person, and then the person was sourcing her, not doing it. And she was like, this is not the person sourcing me, can't I do it myself? And then she did it herself. She did the order for somebody, and her friend really likes it. And then she was like, okay, so maybe this could actually work out as a business. She started telling more people, and to date, like we're still friends on Twitter. She shares she's called Salad Delight. Salad Delight, salad and the space and the delight with 2 E's. So she still shares up to today, and then I retweet for her, and I see that lots of people retweet for her. So you know, because she's on Twitter, people are retweeting. She's getting more clients because she decided to start where she is, right? She didn't waste that. Oh, she said that when we did the Twitter space, she said eventually she'd like to set up a salad bar or something like that, like a place where you can come in and then get your fresh salad. But then she started with where she is, and so she delivers from home for now, right? So let's have if it's shoes, whichever product we want, if it's soap we want to produce, if it's wigs, right? We can start at home. We can start by selling the first one. People will see, oh, this person did an excellent job. Maybe I should order another wig from them, and then they get it. Makeup. You can start practicing on somebody. They're like, oh, you're really good at makeup. Can you come and then do me up for my birthday shoot or something like that? And then you get other opportunities. So we start from somewhere, right? We start from somewhere before we progress, right? And then let's look at a few key benefits, you know, of starting small. So first of all, when you start small, you start to get invaluable experience. You start to get a lot of experience. Personally, I found that when I started Twitter Spaces and all that, like I've learned so much, so many technical things, so many ways to interview, and now I've added all those things to my CV, right? And I'm like, thanks so much, Raymond. I really appreciate it. And I've added all those things to my CV. So like skills, like interview skills, like virtual hosting, like event hosting. I've added all of them, and these skills wouldn't have come about. I wouldn't have been able to learn these skills if I hadn't decided to start. I remember recently, so I have a sister from South Africa, her pillow, and recently she was sharing how on her status. I just reached out to her. I think in March, that was our first. We started with Women's History Month. That was when we had our first Twitter space. And when I reached out, I was like, Happy, I don't know how to do this, but I've seen people doing Twitter spaces. And I think you have a lot of lessons to share with us. And where we can bring people value. And so we said we'll do the first space. So when we were doing the first space, and then she sent me her CV. She made it all nice. I didn't even think to ask her CVs. Like, I didn't know how to do it. Right? She sent me her CV. I was like, oh, so we have to make this really official. We have to make them nice, right? And so I read it out. I asked her. I did questions and then asked her. And then at a point when she was talking, I ended up muting her and I muted everybody in the audience. So I couldn't hear. I was the only one who could hear myself. Then I was like, what's happening? So I quickly looked at my screen. I realized I'd clicked mute everyone or something by mistake. And then I muted her. She was like, I couldn't hear myself speaking. And so eventually we figured it out and we continued and we had a great space, right? And that was our first experience and we were so excited that we were able to do it. And based on the fact that we decided to start, we weren't perfect, we decided to start. Since then we've had so many amazing sessions where we've got so many testimonies from people that like this knowledge is really important, like they are grateful that we did it, like they're going to apply this knowledge, and it makes me feel really glad, right, that we started from somewhere and we didn't wait to be perfect, we didn't wait to know the whole platform. So as I was saying, when we start somewhere, we gain invaluable experience, and I've added it to my CV, right? And I'm like, yes, I'm a Twitter host. I do interviews. If you need somebody to do a virtual event, I can do it for you. So we gain invaluable experience, and then another benefit is that you're able to grow your professional network, right? When you start, or you're able to grow your network in the industry, because people will see you doing something. People will see you doing something, be like, oh, okay, so I mean, so can you support me in this area? Can you support me in this area? Oh, can you see? Oh, Kwejo, Kwame, Amma, yes, like all the names. Like, can you support me in this area? And they'll reach out to you for your support because they see what you're doing already, right? People will be inclined to reach out because they see that you're doing something. Yesterday, a friend of mine reached out to me that she wanted that next month they're going to have COVID-19 vaccine, something like we're going to influence for people to get the COVID-19 vaccine, right? And she reached out to me that would I like to be an influencer because. And why did she? Because she seemed like already doing stuff on like Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, right? So she reached out to me because of that. So the more that we get started, the more that we get opportunities for people to reach out to us, provide them with particular services, right? And then eventually we started as volunteers and then we started doing our own thing, right? At a point we start to even get paid for our skills, right? We can do speaking engagements, we can do courses, like you can set up a virtual course. Okay, so maybe today we are doing a course 101, maybe how to make wigs, how to fix fingernails, how to fingernail extensions, how to do Twitter spaces, how to do public speaking. You can eventually turn that knowledge into something that brings you monetary value. But as I'm saying, it all starts from somewhere, right? We won't just magically make it happen. It doesn't work like that, right? So you need to start from somewhere. And then another benefit, of course, is that as I was saying, while you're growing your professional network, you also get that capacity to work in different areas, because you see that as you start to work in one area, right, you'll find that there's some knowledge that you need to adapt to become perfect in that area, and then you go and find that knowledge. When I started to host the Twitter spaces, I wanted to set up a podcast. I didn't know how to set up a podcast. I had to go and find that knowledge. So now, and in addition to my CV, I've written podcast hosts, because I'll start up my podcast and I'll have a few episodes. I need to add more though, but at least I'll start up from somewhere, right? And so when you start, you also get that capacity, and then your mind starts to think of other things that you can do to make that thing better. And so you get those skills as well. Skills, you can add them. So In terms of CV, like that's if you want to apply for a professional role. Let's say maybe when you're working in an industry where you don't need to like even apply the CV, maybe you're a CEO or something, or you're a manager or something. The good thing is that you can still use those skills personally, right? And then they're going to help you to develop your mind. They're going to help you to think on a broader perspective. They're going to help you to be able to interact with other people on a different level because you now have all that knowledge. So I may be using CV, but then it applies, it cuts across, right? And then I think that in ending, what I'll say is that it's important for us to keep learning, right? One thing that I learned from recently, I saw a video from Gusi Tembekwai, the American, South African speaker, and he was saying that when we get our certificates, it's like we've gotten our certificates, but then we need to sort of put it aside and then keep learning. Like basically he was saying that he wasn't saying that we should not recognize our certificates. He was saying that okay, so now we've gotten the degree, the master's, the PhD, the certificate, right? But then we shouldn't say that okay, we've gotten all that knowledge, so we are done learning, like we are static, right? He said that despite the fact that we've gotten that, we need to keep learning on a daily basis because the world is continually evolving, new things are coming up, and so we need to learn how to move with these new things, how to roll with the new things. So we've gotten the certificate, perfect. We've gotten our knowledge, perfect. But then what knowledge are we adding every day? Because it says that if we are to depend on that alone, then unfortunately we're going to become obsolete, right? And as I was sharing in the beginning, there are so many platforms that we can learn: YouTube, Spotify, where else? Instagram. People even do courses. People do free knowledge. There are so many free courses. When I see free courses in the personal development area, I jump onto them, right? And when you follow people in this space, you just follow people in your niche, right? In your industry, you see that they'll do free courses. As I was saying, even if we can't pay, we start from the free ones, right? I Tony Robbins, Ingrads, you'll see like these people, when they do free course, I'm there. Social media marketing free course, I'm there because I can learn, right? Right now, I don't want to pay the dollars, and some of them I pay, okay, some of them I pay, but then those are like the minimum ones, right? I haven't gotten to the point where I can pay the $1,000s, the $2,000, the $3,000. I hope to get there one day, very, very soon, right? Because I feel that I'm actually going to get value for money from the courses that those people offer, right? But for now, I've started with the free ones, and then where I can, maybe like the $20, the $50, where I can, I pay for them, right? So let's continue to gather the knowledge, and let's continue to go being great. And let's remember, it's important to start where we are, right? Let's not wait too long to become perfect. Let's make mistakes and learn from them along the journey. So on this note, I wish you an amazing, amazing rest of the day. Thank you to everybody who joined. Everybody will join later on. Let's keep sharing together, right? And if you have any comments, if you have any thoughts on this, if you have any personal examples, please do share in the comments. We are all learning. I'm also on a learning journey. I understand that you're also on a learning journey. So I believe that we can all learn from each other, right? So that together we can, we can really build up the momentum and then make the most amazing life for ourselves and then our loved ones as well. So on that note, I wish you an amazing rest of the day. Raymond, thank you so much for being with me. I wish you an awesome, awesome rest of the day. Goodbye.